Okay, we're now at a point where we've boiled all our jars for 10 minutes in hot water, and at this stage we've got to move pretty fast, so Du's helping me right now. He's draining out all the jars. They're going to be piping hot, and the next step is to put the hot poke into the jars. Alright, we're filling up our jars with the piping hot poke. Goes in the jar a little easier using this handy little gadget they sell in the canning supplies. Alright, and here's the other jars. So it looks like we're going to have 7 jars. Is putting in some pickling salt. We do a half a teaspoon per jar. And then after we've done that, I have a pot of hot boiling water. We're going to add water until each of the jars is about an inch from the edge of the jar, filled up with water. Here we go. Here's Du adding the boiling water. You can hear the sound of my pressure cooker boiling behind me, and we'll be ready to put the cans into it very shortly. So as soon as we're done chopping up all these jars, we'll be right back. Alright, at this point we've also sterilized our rings and our seals, and Du's wiping the top of each jar to make sure they're clean and dry. You don't want to have any particles of food obstructing that seal as it seals up in the pressure cooker. Alright, he's moving quickly because they just come out of boiling hot water. We try to sterilize everything for at least 10 minutes here. The next step is to put the rings on. Now watch as he does it. Do not over tighten these. That'd be a big mistake. You just tighten it until it's snug, but not tight. Alright, and now the next step is going to be putting them into the pressure cooker. Here's the pressure cooker. You can see it's boiling nicely. That's a tray you see down in the bottom. And this particular pressure cooker holds 7 jars. So at this point we're going to be putting the jars in. The jars are piping hot, so put them in slowly. Take care not to splash, and be sure not to jolt the jars against each other. You don't want to put any cracks into your glass. It fits 7 perfectly, 6 in a circle and 1 in the center. As you see, he's moving them by hand. Don't burn yourself. Okay, now the last step is getting that lid on. As you notice, there's special handles. Now, what he did was just lock the handles in place. That has to meet. And at this stage, it's actually a waiting game. What we have to do is, you see this little gadget on top here, there's only a teeny amount of steam coming through. What you have to do is keep it on high until the steam is very visible, you'll hear it, and then we have to let it steam in that way for 10 minutes. This little gadget here on the lid is an airlock, and when pressure starts to build up in the pan, it'll actually pop up. I don't know if the camera is able to pick it up, but it's actually bubbling steam out now. We're getting a steady stream of steam. So at this point I'll be setting the timer for 10 minutes. I'm going to show you the front of the little manual that came with so you can see what kind of pressure cooker I have. It's called a Presto pressure cooker and canner. Now beside it here, these are the weights that we're going to be putting on top. Each one of these is worth 5 pounds of pressure. When you're doing greens, you have to can them for 90 minutes using 10 pounds of pressure. So we're going to be taking, this just rests on top, and that's going to be going on top of the can after it's been doing this boil for 10 minutes. I'll show you how in just a sec. Now at this stage, we've been boiling for 10 minutes. You can hear the steam coming out louder. And now it's time to put on the pressure regulator on top. Alright. Now comes another weight. We have to wait until the pressure regulator begins to have a steady rock. And once we get a steady rock, then we're going to set our timer for 90 minutes. Putting this pressure regulator over top of that steam hole is in fact causing inside of this pot the contents to be under massive pressure. You don't ever open your pressure cooker during this time. You have to let it run its course, and if by chance your seal was leaking, the only thing at this stage you could do was to take the entire pressure cooker outside and wait for it to cool before doing anything else. So we're here waiting for the little pressure regulator to begin to rock. It's taken about 10 minutes, but now the pressure regulator is beginning to rock. Now that's a good sign. At this point is where I set the timer for 90 minutes. That's 90 minutes. Dark leafy greens need to be pressure cooked for a long time to be sure that they won't decay. Alright, we've come finally to the end of our 90 minutes, so now it's time to shut off the element and move the entire pressure cooker over to a pool burner where we won't be able to touch it. We can't even take that steam regulator off until it stops blowing steam out of it. Alright, time to turn off the timer, and you can hear as we remove it how getting quieter and quieter. And now we'll have to leave it sit for at least a good hour before we can take the top off. So at this point I just want to thank Stu, because without him I'd not even be able to make this video for you. Thank you, Stu.
You're welcome.
This is Tam Wendell with Bushcraft on Fire, thanking you for joining me for this video to show you how you go from poke like this to canned poke for winter. Thanks so much for your comments, for your ratings, and just for your support. Y'all have a blessed day, and I'll see you soon on another video.